Hello, everyone. We will be getting started just now. So, hello and welcome to the 2025 Future City Experience Showcase. My name is Kimberly, and I'm an engineering outreach coordinator. Hello, everyone. Here at Ontario Tech University. Started just now. I am so excited to welcome over 1,000 students from across Canada to this special virtual event. Today, we are happy to celebrate your incredible designs, your hard work, and everything you've accomplished. My name is Kimberly, your creativity, teamwork, and problem-solving skills are all on display today, and they reflect the key qualities of an engineer. Thank you for being a part of this experience. We can't wait to see your cities and what you've imagined. Before we get started, we'd like to do our land acknowledgement. So, Ontario Tech University, located in Oshawa, Ontario, acknowledges the lands and people of Mississaugas of Scugog Island First Nation. We are thankful to be welcomed on these lands in friendship. These lands are part of the Williams Treaties and the traditional territory of the Mississaugas, a branch of the Anishinaabe, which includes Algonquin, Ojibwe, Odawa, and Potawatomi. Many Indigenous nations and communities continue to live on and care for these lands today. While we are located in Oshawa, it's important to recognize and respect the traditional territories of Indigenous people all across Canada. Indigenous communities have cared for Turtle Island, also known as North America, since long before settlers arrived, and they continue to do so today. We share this land acknowledgement to honor that history and to recognize that we are all treaty people. Our past shapes our present, but if we continue to move forward with respect as friends and allies, it doesn't have to define our future. I will now show a short video about Ontario Tech University and the Faculty of Engineering and Applied Science.
Ontario Tech Engineering is empowering students to solve the world's most complex problems and to engineer a bright new future. Gain hands-on engineering design experience in one of our design-focused engineering programs and our many student design teams. Take your entrepreneurial ideas from prototype to reality in our engineering design studios. Get a market-driven and career-oriented education in one of our state-of-the-art teaching and research labs. Expand your learning outside the classroom and customize your experience. Find something that ignites your passion in one of our many engineering clubs and societies. Turn your laptop into a computer lab. Our leading-edge engineering software is available at your fingertips, wherever you go. Meet your future employer. Get real-world engineering experience and accelerate your career goals through our co-op and internship program. Learn from and work with leading-edge researchers in emerging fields such as autonomous vehicles, renewable energy, and artificial intelligence. Say hello to engineering at Ontario Tech University.
I will now pass it over to Rebecca from Engineers of Tomorrow.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much, Kim. And thank you, everyone, for joining us today at the Future City Showcase. As Kimberly said, my name is Rebecca White. I am the CEO of Engineers of Tomorrow. Who are we? We're a nonprofit, and we love to talk to kids about engineering and STEM. And my goal for all of you today is that you leave here just even more curious and more excited about engineering. Before we get to today's event, I do want to take a quick second and just say a big thank you to the planning team that helped bring everything together for all of you here today. As Kimberly said, there's 1,000 of you that are participating. So a lot of hard work that goes into making sure today's event is amazing for everybody. So thanks so much to the team at Ontario Tech. We have Laura and Kim and their entire outreach team there. We're really excited to welcome, all of us are really excited to welcome you all here today. I know that you've all been working really hard over the last few months or so to design a futuristic city that's built 100 years in the future. And oh my gosh, that is a really big thing. That's very complex. That's a huge challenge. So I hope that you're really proud of what you've been able to accomplish, or are starting to accomplish if you're just getting started on it. We wanted to do something really special to celebrate your achievements. So we invited a guest speaker that we hope will inspire you as you navigate your own future. So I want you to join me and help me welcome an Ontario Tech fourth year engineering student. Her name is Erin Hanna. I'll just tell you a little bit about Erin. So as I said, she's a fourth year electrical engineering student, and she decided to study electrical engineering because she really loved some of the STEM subjects that she was learning about in high school, like math. And she thought that an engineering degree could really open up a lot of career paths for her. Right now, Erin's on her second co-op term at Ontario Power Generation as a maintenance assessing co-op student. And she has also completed a co-op term at Alexicon as a systems control center co-op student. But she really enjoys participating in events that encourage young folks like all of you to explore STEM, and particularly those girls that might be out there watching us right now. So I would like to ask all of you to give a big round of applause to Erin. And in the interest of trying to make this a nice, smooth event for everybody, we did ask Erin to pre-record her talk for you. So just wanted to be really super transparent and let you know this isn't Erin coming to us live. We're trying to make sure that everything went well. So we're now going to show you the amazing message that we have from Erin. Thanks, Erin.
Hi everyone, my name is Erin. I'm a fourth year electrical engineering student at Ontario Tech, and I'm here to talk about my engineering experience. So like I said, my name is Erin. I'm a fourth year electrical engineering student at Ontario Tech, and I'm currently completing a co-op at Ontario Power Generation as a maintenance assessing co-op student. I am also currently working part-time at Alexicon Energy as a system control center student, where I was previously a co-op student there as well. So why did I choose engineering and how did I get here? When I was in high school, I knew I wanted to continue my education when I was done high school, either by going to university or college. I just didn't know which one. I really enjoyed my STEM classes like math and physics and chemistry, but especially math. I really enjoyed math. But I also really enjoyed hands-on classes like woodshop and hairstyling. In grade 11, I thought I wanted to go to school for a trade. I thought maybe carpentry was what I wanted to do. But then by grade 12, I changed my mind and decided that I wanted to pursue a university degree. And within that, I narrowed it down to either business or engineering. And you can probably guess what I ended up choosing. That was engineering. So what did I expect in engineering? At the time, I expected nothing. I had no idea what to expect. I had accepted an offer to go to Ontario Tech for engineering, and I didn't even know what engineers did. It wasn't until I actually accepted the offer that I was like, okay, maybe I need to start looking into what engineers actually do and find out a little bit more about the program. I knew that engineering was STEM focused, so I knew that it was a lot of math and science, which I was okay with, but I didn't know what you actually could do as an engineer after you graduated. There's also a lot of different disciplines in engineering. So for example, there's electrical like I'm doing, there's also mechanical, civil, software, nuclear. There's so many different disciplines of engineering. Thankfully, Ontario Tech had a comprehensive, and I still do believe they have a comprehensive engineering program. So what that is when you go into your first year of university, all the engineers take the same classes anyway. So it gives you it gives you the 8 months that you're in your first year to decide whether you want to do any of the different engineering programs that they offer. So they have electrical, software, mechanical, mechatronics is one. They have nuclear. They have some newer ones like industrial and energy. They have a bunch of different ones, but your first year, you can take that time to decide which one you wanted to do. So going into university from high school, it was a bit of a transition. So when I also started university, it was in the middle of COVID. I started university in September of 2021. COVID was still a really big thing. Ontario Tech had like a modified orientation day. School was also almost completely virtual. So here's a picture of me and my cat. My cat was my study buddy in first year. We would attend classes online together. It was a lot of fun. But mostly everything was virtual, except for labs. I only live half an hour away from the school, so I could go in for labs, but for the most part, I was at home. But university overall was a big adjustment for me because when I was in elementary and high school, I didn't do a lot of homework. I didn't do a lot of studying. I got good grades, but like I didn't do much of that after school. Once I got into university, especially engineering, all I felt I did was study. And it's true, all I did was study. I really wanted to work towards getting the same grades that I got in high school, and I did achieve that, but it was at the cost of studying all the time. But I am glad that I put in the time and effort because it did pay off. So when it came time to actually choose an engineering discipline, like I said, first year is general, second year is when you actually start doing the classes that apply to your discipline. So I decided to choose electrical engineering for two reasons. One was because I really enjoyed math and I still enjoyed it after first year of university. In first year university at our school, you do two math classes. So you do one in first semester and you do one in second semester. I enjoyed both those classes. I had a lot of fun. I don't think a lot of people would say that, but I can say that. But I also really liked a class called Physics 2. And what this is it was basically a class all about introductory electricity. So how electricity works at a microscopic level. I really enjoyed that class. I did really well in it. And I knew that it was the basis for electrical engineering. So that is why I chose electrical engineering. So you might be wondering, what is it like getting an electrical engineering degree? What do I do at school? So, like I said, electrical engineering, it's all about electricity. It's how it works and how various things use it. So, some of the things that I now know is I know how batteries work, I know how circuits work, I know how to build a circuit, I know how electricity gets created, how it gets used. Basically, anything that involves electricity, I have a baseline understanding of it. Sometimes I know a little bit more, sometimes I don't know as much, but I do roughly understand how electricity works as a whole. I wouldn't say roughly, mostly no, but then with some applications, I know a little bit less or a little bit more. Throughout school, these are some of the classes that I've taken so far. So I've taken like an electrical engineering or intro to electrical engineering class. I've taken a fundamentals of electromagnetics. I've taken introductory electronics, and I've taken circuit analysis. So these were some classes that I took in my second and my third year. I do want to highlight what my schedule is like. So, like I said, you study a lot, but you're also in class a lot for engineering. So, engineering, if you take a full course load, which means that you take all the classes that are mapped for that year, you can have 5 to 6 classes a week. So that's a lot to balance. And you also have to go to, they're called tutorials, which is learning how to apply the concepts that you learn. And then labs, which is actually doing the concepts that you've learned. So these are my third year schedules. So school's broken up into two semesters. And so these are the 2 semesters that I had. My classes started at 8 a.m. and they went until 5:30 on in the fall. And then in the winter, they could start as early as 8 a.m. and be done at 6:30. So this was also a big adjustment going from high school to university, because when you're in elementary school and high school, your classes or you're in school for a certain amount of time. So when I was in high school, I was in class from 8:20 a.m. until 2:10 p.m. Whereas when you're in university, you have random breaks throughout the day. You start at random times depending on the day. You start at or you finish at different times. It depends what your schedule is. It's not the exact same every day. So this was something that was a big adjustment. But as you can see, it is a pretty busy schedule if you're in engineering. And then on top of this, you have to study. So what I would do is I would go to school, come home after 5 or 6:30, and I would study the rest of the night pretty much until I went to bed. And that's pretty much what my life is when I'm in school. So it is pretty intensive. Co-op. So I did mention that I am doing a co-op. So I'll talk about what it is. So co-op is an opportunity to gain real world experience. So when you're in university, this is usually by working for a company as a student for a certain period of time. So usually you can do 4, 8, 12, or 16 months. I've done 2 8-month co-ops and I'm really happy with the length of them. It wasn't too long, it wasn't too short. It was just the right amount of time. But usually for in engineering co-op experiences, they are paid. So not only are you getting experience, but you're also making some income as well. So it's basically a job. Why did I do a co-op? So there's some really important reasons why I did a co-op. The main one was that I spoke with alumni. So alumni are people who have already graduated from the school, from university. So I spoke with alumni who had done co-op and they said to do it. They said it makes it so much easier when you're graduating that you're able to find a job because you have all these connections and you have all this experience already. I also ended up doing it because a couple of my friends were doing it too. So it just worked out that we would all be graduating at the same time. And I'm glad that I did do it then. And then I also had an opportunity right in front of me. So at my first co-op, I was basically offered it. So I was part of the Women in STEM program at my school. This is a program that they have that it's like a club and it's for women who are in STEM programs. And what they had was a mentor mentee kind of program within that. So what happened was I was assigned a mentor and she was working at a lexicon at the time and she had a coworker who was looking for a co-op student. So she asked if she could forward my resume to her coworker and we ended up having a meeting and talking and he eventually offered me a co-op to start in May of last year. So that's what I did for 8 months as I worked at a lexicon as the System Control Center co-op student. Some of the things that I did in that job, I trained some customer service representatives on a new system that the company was rolling out. I made some online processes and tools for the department to use. I used Excel a lot to create a dashboard for for executives, excuse me. And then I was responsible for scheduling work within the department as well. So I did a lot in this and I really enjoyed this co-op. This one was a lot of fun and it was great to work on so many different things as well. And then at my second co-op, so this one I started in January. So I am currently working at OPG as a co-op student, as a maintenance support co-op student. Day to day, usually I'm responsible for presenting data about the amount of work that my department has been doing, just so that the executives and the managers can see what they're doing, have it in a presentable way. And I've also worked on a couple smaller projects throughout the 4 months that I've been here. I've done a project that requires my electrical engineering experience to be able to read drawings and understand what's going on in them. And then from that, I presented the information to the people in my department. I also have the opportunity often to follow along with engineers who are working at OPG so that I can learn what they do on their day-to-day basis and the things that they have worked on before. And this especially has been really helpful because when I graduate, I want to know kind of an idea of what I want to do. And so by following along with these engineers for a day, just I get an idea of what they're doing in their job. And maybe it might be something that I want to do when I graduate. Okay, so now I want to talk about awards. So when you get to university, you have to pay for university. So sometimes it can be pretty expensive depending on how far away from home you are, whether you're living at home or not living at home, meal plans, stuff like that. So awards are often available for people to have, and especially for women in STEM, I really advocate that if you are a woman and you're looking into doing a STEM program, so science, technology, engineering, or math, there's usually a lot of awards that are offered for women in STEM. So I have received a couple of them. Every year I've received an award. I've been really lucky. So my first year, I got a entrance scholarship for high grades. So at Ontario Tech, we have a certain amount of money that you can earn depending on your average when you come into the school. So if you have, for example, a 90 to a 94.9% average, you get $2,000 just for that. So that's really nice, and it's an incentive to work towards a high grade when you finish high school. And then some other things that I got. So I got in my first year, I got the PW Women for STEM Scholarship. And this was just, I believe, for having high grades coming into school. Sometimes the awards are just applied to your account. So that's what happened with that one. I didn't apply for it. And then second year and third year, I was the recipient of the Barbara Ann Gross Women for STEM Scholarship. This one was also just applied to my account. And then in third year, I applied. This one I actually had to work for it. I applied for the Hydro One Women in Engineering Award. So what this was I had to fill out a questionnaire, and then I had to do an interview. And then a couple months later, I found out that I was one of the recipients for this. So it came with money, and then it also came with the opportunity to work at Hydro One. I didn't end up taking the opportunity to work at Hydro One because of my other two co-ops. They came up first. It just worked out that way. But that is what comes along with the Hydro One specific Women in Engineering Award. Going into fourth year, I'm going to be applying to a couple more. I've got my eye on a couple more awards as well. So I'll be applying to those. But there's lots out there, not just for women in STEM. There's so many different opportunities to get awards. And I highly recommend you work hard, get good grades so that you can apply to awards like these. So in closing, I have a couple pieces of advice that I give to students when I'm speaking to them. My first one is to always try your best. As long as you're doing your best, that's really all that you can do. That's what I would say to myself whenever I went into a test or an exam and I came out of it. I asked myself, did I do my best? And if I did, then usually it paid off. And if I didn't, then I just got to work harder the next time. And that brings me to my second point. Perseverance, if you choose to be an engineer, and really this applies to everything too. Perseverance is the best quality of an engineer. So not always with engineering, you're not always going to get it right on the first try, and that's okay. That is normal. I think we are always hard on ourselves because we're not getting things right on the first try, and that's not human. That's not normal. So as long as you keep trying, if you make mistakes, keep trying again. I'm sure while you're working on your projects for your future cities, you're going to make mistakes along the way. As long as you learn upon them and improve upon them and try again the next time, that's the best thing that you can do. And it's really important that you're learning from your mistakes and you keep trying. And then finally is to do a co-op. So once you guys get into high school, there's opportunities to do co-ops in high school. I don't know if they're paid, but it's definitely a good idea to get experience, because not only is experience for yourself, but you're also able to put that on a resume for future jobs. I didn't do a co-op, but I worked while I was in high school, and I still have, I was a supervisor at Tim Hortons, and I still have that on my resume because it shows good leadership and it's a good, experience that I have. But I'm sure any co-op that you do, it's a good piece of information to have on a resume, and it's good for yourself to have that as well. So that's it for me. Thank you for listening to me, and I hope you guys have a great day. Thanks.
Awesome. Well, I hope you all found a few things in that really amazing talk we just heard from Erin, and hopefully Erin's watching. Thank you so much, Erin, for taking some time to share your story and your experiences with all of our students and budding engineers that have been participating in this design challenge. So a couple quick things now before we quickly wrap up and get into the next part of our agenda for the day. So I know a lot of you already know this because we are watching the votes roll in as we speak. So peer awards will be announced today at our closing ceremonies. So make sure you come back for the closing ceremonies so we can do our big drum roll and announce our award winners. Well, really your award winners, the cities that you thought were the most innovative and had the city that you want to live and all the great things about them. So be sure to come back and we will make that big announcement at the end of the ceremonies. And if you haven't voted yet, you have a little bit of time yet still to get your votes in. And then next slide. Thanks, Kimberly. I think I have Kimberly advancing the slides for me. Thanks, Kimberly. And just a quick reminder for everybody on what the schedule looks like today. So you are going to either be a group A, a group B, or a group C. And so if you are a group A, you'll see you have your presentation time up first, followed by some really fun trivia and then a 3D design workshop. And then group B has their 3D design workshop first, followed by their presentation time, and then they get to do the trivia. And group C has trivia workshop and then their presentation time. And then we all come back together again at 2:15 Eastern time for the closing ceremonies. So just to go through that quickly again, because the presentation time, I know you're all really excited to show us all your hard work and talk to your engineers. So if you're in group A, you're heading right into your presentation time at 12:35 Eastern. And then if you are in group B, you're going to be going to your presentation at 1:10. And if you're in group C, you're presenting at 1:45. Do I have anything else I need to remind them of, Kimberly? What's on my next slide? Let's see. No, that's it for me. I know that Kimberly has a few other just reminders and helpful tips for you. So I'm going to turn it back over to you. Thanks, Kimberly.
Thanks, Rebecca. Okay, so we're almost there. So come presentation time, we are going to be using Google Meet. So you should have received an email with your specific project Google Meet. If you're a teacher with multiple classes, each project has their own Google Meet. So make sure that you're joining the right link when the time comes. And when you do join, please make sure that you're entering your name so that we know who will be letting into the Google Meet. So please put your school name and we will let you in. And just a few tips for when you're using Google Meet. So you may turn on and off your microphone and camera in the bottom left. If you are sharing a virtual project, you can share your screen with the rectangle with the arrow. And to access the chat is in the bottom right. If you are using multiple computers to join in one room, ensure that only one computer has their volume on and their microphone on, and everyone else's computers are muted and sound all the way down. This will reduce the feedback. And our room facilitators will go over with this again when it comes time for you to do your presentation. For our Power Up Trivia, we will be using Kahoot, and this will be happening in this live stream. So cohort C, you'll be having your Kahoot first. So don't go anywhere, stay in this live stream. This is where the Kahoot will be. And when for cohort A and B, remember to come back here for our Power Up Trivia. And we'll also be having our 3D design workshop where you'll learn about circuits and their role when it comes to building future cities. You will find the link to that video just below this video on our website. So cohort B, you're going to be doing this workshop soon. It'll be just the video below this video. And if you're having any issues today, just check the website. You'll have all the links to our live streams here on this website. And remember to check to make sure that you have the right Google Meet when it comes time for your presentation, and to have one computer that has a mic and a speaker. And remember to check your schedule to know when your cohort is presenting. And if you have any questions, if you're having any more trouble, feel free to send me an email. And also, you all work so hard on your future cities, and we'd love for you to share it with us. So feel free to share your cities with us on social media using the hashtags FCE Canada or FC Showcase 2025 in your posts. Okay, so we are now at 12:31. So I will let you guys go to get ready to start your presentation. Cohort A, that's you. Cohort C, stay here. We will be starting the Kahoot very soon. And Cohort B, you can make your way now to the digital design workshop. So we will start the Kahoot at 12:35.
All right. Hi, folks. So, welcome to the Future Cities trivia session. And we will be using Kahoot to facilitate the trivia. So, if you guys want to make your way to kahoot.it, and I will display the pin for you to sign in. And I just want to remind everyone, make sure we're using appropriate nicknames. Okay. So, I will display the pin for everyone. So feel free to head to kahoot.it and join the trivia. I'll give us 5 minutes for everyone to join. So again, the way to join is just to enter the pin on my screen. And then you also want to enter the shape pattern that's also on my screen. Okay, maybe we'll give it 2 more minutes. So again, you're entering the pin on kahoot.it, and then you're entering the pattern as well. All right, 1 more minute. Okay, we got some good amount of participants. 30 more seconds for everyone to join. Okay, perfect. So we are going to get started. And again, there's no winners or losers here, okay? Alrighty. What is the main reason fossil fuels are considered non-renewable? Okay, yes, they do indeed take millions of years to form. All right. Great job, great job. Question 2. Which animal is most threatened by melting Arctic ice due to rising global temperatures? Yes, polar bears indeed, right? Okay, question 3. Which of these is a clean energy source? Yes, solar power, exactly. Okay. Awesome, awesome. All right, question 4. How does geothermal energy produce electricity? Yes, it's indeed from heat within the earth, exactly. Okay. All right, question 5. What is one challenge with wind and solar energy? Yeah, right. So they depend on weather conditions, right? Depending on the wrong weather condition, it may not work to the best of its ability, right? Okay, question 6. What is the purpose of an electric vehicle? Yes, they reduce direct emissions and can be powered by clean energy. That is right. Okay. Next question. How can you save water at home? Select which you think applies. Yeah, exactly. Fixing leaks, right? That way you're not wasting water. Great job. All right. What does net zero mean in terms of clean energy and the climate? Yeah, balancing the amount of greenhouse gases emitted with the amount removed. Fantastic. Okay. So, what is a renewable energy source in general? What is it? Exactly, right? An energy source that is naturally replenished over a short period of time, right? So it replenishes, and you don't need to use methods that harm the earth to replenish it, right? You can reuse it. Okay. Now, what is a carbon footprint? Do we think it's a type of shoe? Hmm. Okay, yeah. So carbon footprint is basically carbon dioxide emissions created by the activities of a living being. So that could be us humans. We have our own carbon footprint. Um, Animals can sometimes have their own carbon footprint, right? Living organisms. But I do understand why people may have guessed a mark left by burning fossil fuels, right? But it's actually just the impact of us humans or living organisms that um, and what we leave basically on the earth. Okay. All right. Which of the following is not a consequence associated with climate change? Okay, so the answer is indeed decrease in global migration, right? That is indeed the answer. Because sometimes that isn't necessarily associated with how the climate changes, right? That's just based on um, what people decide to do, or what animals decide to do. Okay. Question 12. Why is energy efficiency important in fighting climate change? Right. So it reduces energy waste and lowers emissions from energy production. Okay, so that is indeed the correct answer. All right. I wonder if these questions are stumping you. So, what is the greenhouse effect? When gases in our atmosphere trap heat and block it from escaping, right? They block it from escaping our planet. Exactly. Great job. All right, question 14. Which of these is a small change you can make to reduce your carbon footprint? Using reusable bags, right? So, using disposable products. Disposable means things you throw out, right? But you're creating a lot of trash that way. So, using reusable bags is a better way to reduce your carbon footprint because you can reuse all the time, right? You can wash it if it gets dirty. You don't have to throw it out. So, using reusable bags is definitely the right answer. But I can understand why you may have been tripped up by using disposable products. Okay, which of the following is a renewable energy source? Yeah. So we got hydroelectric, we have biomass, and geothermal. These are all renewable energy sources. Okay, looking great. Question 16. What powers a hydroelectric dam? What do we think? Ooh, okay. So it is indeed the movement of water through turbines in a river or reservoir, right? But I could definitely understand why you may have thought ocean waves crashing into turbines, right? But it's actually the movement of water through a river or a reservoir. Okay, lovely. Question 17. What is climate change primarily caused by? Increased greenhouse gases, exactly. Great job. Okay, true or false? Climate and weather are the same thing. False, exactly, right? They're a little bit different. Weather is the temporary change, like what's the weather like out today? Oh, it's raining. Oh, it's sunny, right? But climate is the overall impact, the long term effect of weather, right? It's getting hotter as the time increases, right? As the years go on, it gets hotter and hotter, right? So that's the difference. Climate is more long term. Okay, question 19. What does sustainable innovation mean? What do we think? Creating new ideas that improve lives while protecting further resources. Exactly. Right, so that is indeed what sustainable innovation means. Okay, final question. Which gas is the most common greenhouse gas? Carbon dioxide. That is right. Okay, fantastic. So let's look at our podium. Third place, we have Decisive Falcon. Second place, we have Smart Wombat. And first place, we have Bright Deer, right? Obviously, you guys didn't create these usernames, these were made for you, but great job. And again, there's no winners or losers here. Hopefully, you guys all learned something maybe new that you didn't know before. But again, fantastic job. So, with that, I'm going to take us back to the slideshow very quickly. Okay, so we're a little bit ahead of time. So at 110, you will be moving to the 3D design workshop. So that is the video of the live stream right under this one on the website. Right, so just scroll down and you'll be in the 3D design workshop. That'll start at 1:10 p.m. Okay, but great job. Thank you for participating. I realize there may have been some issues trying to get into the Kahoot. Yeah, Kahoot unfortunately put like a participant cap on us, so we'll see if we can get that sorted. But otherwise, again, thank you very much. And even if you were just watching and weren't able to participate, hopefully you learned something. Sorry for the technical difficulties, but yeah, I appreciate it, guys. So again, at 1:10, you will be joining the 3D design workshop. That's just the video right under this one, okay? All right. All right, folks, we will get started in 2 minutes. All right, we can get started now. So, welcome to the trivia session of Future Cities. And how we will be facilitating this trivia is using Kahoot. So everyone can make their way to kahoot.it, and I will display the pin for you to join, and it will create a nickname for you. Okay, so you won't even have to create a nickname. All right, so I will display the pin. Give me 1 second here. All right, so feel free to join. I'll give us 5 minutes for everyone to join. And again, you're just making your way to kahoot.it, and you're entering the pin on my screen. All right, we'll give it 1.5 more minutes for people to join. All right, one last minute. All right, so we will get started. And again, if you're just joining, make your way to kahoot.it and enter the pin that will be displayed on my screen. Okay, with that, we will get started. Okay, question 1. Why is energy efficiency important in fighting climate change? Okay, so the answer is indeed because it reduces energy waste and lowers emissions from energy production. Fantastic. All right, next question. What is climate change primarily caused by? Okay, yes. So, climate change is primarily caused by increased greenhouse gases. Okay. Next question. What powers a hydroelectric dam? This one may stump you a little bit. Wow. Okay, didn't stump too many. Yeah, so it's the movement of water through turbines in a river or reservoir, right? So ocean waves crashing into turbines, technically it could power a generator, but it wouldn't be consistent because ocean waves are inconsistent, right? But the movement of water is ever flowing. So that's why it can constantly turn a turbine, right? All right. Question 4. What is a renewable energy source? Okay, so a renewable energy source is basically an energy source that is naturally replenished over a short period of time, right? It can be reused. All right, question 5. Which of these is a small change you can make to reduce your carbon footprint? Yeah, so it's reusing or it's using reusable bags, right? Using disposable products. Disposable means it has a one-time use, right? You dispose of it after, you can throw it out, right? So you're creating more trash that way. If it said non-disposable, for sure, but disposable. So that was like kind of like a tricky one there. But reusable bags, definitely, because you can reuse them, right? If they get dirty, you can wash them. So they definitely can help reduce your carbon footprint. All right, question 6. Which of these is a clean energy source? Solar power, that's right. Right? Sometimes people can get tricked by natural gas because it has the word natural in it, so it must be clean. But in fact, solar power is the correct answer. So great job. All right, question 7. What is the purpose of an electric vehicle? Yeah, didn't stump anyone there. Exactly, right? They reduce direct emissions and can be powered by clean energy. Fantastic. Okay. Question 8. Which of the following is a renewable energy source? Yeah, right? So hydroelectric is definitely one, biomass is certainly one, and geothermal. Fantastic. So you had like 3 correct answers there. All right, question 9. Which animal is most threatened by melting Arctic ice due to rising global temperatures? Yeah, the polar bear, definitely, right? They're definitely impacted the most by melting Arctic ice because that makes up their home. Okay. Question 10, halfway. What is a carbon footprint? Yeah, so a carbon footprint is carbon dioxide emissions created by the activities of a living being, right? So I could definitely understand why you may think it's a mark left by burning fossil fuels, right? But it's actually a carbon footprint is usually caused when a human or a living organism causes that impact, right? The burning of fossil fuels is an action, right? Yes, humans do it, but the action itself doesn't create the carbon footprint. It's the humans that are doing it that's creating the carbon footprint, right? So the humans and living organisms are at the foundation of carbon footprints. Okay, so it's what we can do that causes it and how can we reduce it. Okay. All right, question 11. What is one challenge with wind and solar energy? Yeah, so they depend on weather conditions. I mean, maybe they can be very loud. I'm not too sure, but I'd say the main problem is that they depend on weather conditions, right? Solar energy isn't very effective at nighttime, right? Or wind, what if it's a very non-windy day, right? Does that impact how the wind turbines can, act, right? How efficient they are? So they definitely depend on weather conditions. Okay, question 12. What is the greenhouse effect? Yeah, so the greenhouse effect is when gases in our atmosphere trap heat and block it from escaping our planet, right? So now we're trapped with harmful gases that can, be harmful overall. Okay, question 13. What does sustainable innovation mean? Right. So sustainable innovation means creating new ideas that improve lives while protecting future resources, right? Okay, question 14. Which gas is the most common greenhouse gas? Yeah, carbon dioxide, certainly. Okay, true or false? Climate and weather are the same thing. Yeah, the answer is false. So weather is more the short term, right? Oh, look, it's raining outside. Oh, look, it's sunny outside. Oh, it's very cloudy outside, right? But that can change instantly. That can change day by day. Climate is the long term overall effect from changing weather, right? So, like, climate would be rising temperatures, right? Every summer it gets hotter and hotter and hotter, right? So the climate is getting hotter during summer, right? In Canada, right? So climate is the long term, but weather is the short term. All right, question 16. How does geothermal energy produce electricity? Yeah, from heat within the earth, right? So you're basically sourcing the heat from deep within the earth to use it for energy. Exactly. All right. Question 17. Which of the following is not a consequence associated with climate change? Yeah, right? Decrease in global migration is not a consequence associated with climate change. Definitely. Okay. Question 18. What is the main reason fossil fuels are considered non renewable? Yeah, they take millions of years to form, right? So they're not fast paced, they're not reusable, so they're definitely non renewable, right? They don't replenish automatically. All right, second last question. What does net zero mean in terms of clean energy and climate? Yeah, so it means balancing the amount of greenhouse gases emitted with the amount removed, right? So you want to keep it balanced. All right. Final question. How can you save water at home? Yeah, fixing leaks for sure, right? That way you're not wasting water, right? So if you notice that there's a leak in your house, doing your most best to fixing it or getting someone to help you fix it so that water isn't just being wasted all the time. Okay, lovely. So here is our podium. In third place, we have Fast Gecko. In second place, we have Creative Falcon. And in first place, Focused Eagle, right? Fantastic job. But there are no losers here today. Hopefully you guys learned something, and I appreciate you guys participating, right? So hopefully you learned something new with this Kahoot. So I'm going to bring us back to the slideshow very briefly. Okay. All right. So we finished 3 minutes early. That is perfectly okay. But what you guys will do after this Kahoot is you will make your way to the 3D design workshop. So that's literally the video right under this one. So you can pause this live stream and go to the one right under it, right? Just scroll down on the website. And your 3D design workshop starts at 1:45, okay? So this ends at 1:40. You have 5-minute buffer time to make your way to the 3D design workshop, okay? And that's just the video right under this one on the website. But again, thank you so much for participating. Hopefully you guys learned something and enjoyed it. Enjoyed the Kahoot and a little bit of trivia there. Fantastic job, okay? So I will leave the schedule up just so that you can remember where to go next. Again, just the video right under this one, the live stream, okay? 3D design workshop. Great job, everyone. We'll give it 2 more minutes before we get started. All right, so welcome to the trivia session of Future Cities 2025. So how will we be doing this trivia? We will be using Kahoot. Okay, so you can make your way to kahoot.it, and then I will share the pin you need to enter and join the trivia. Okay, to enter and join the Kahoot session. So you won't even need to create a nickname. A nickname will be generated for you. All right, so I will display the pin for everyone to join the Kahoots. Now give us 5 minutes. So again, we're just heading to kahoot.it and you're entering the pin on my screen to join the trivia. A nickname will be made for you. All right. We'll give it maybe another 3 to 4 minutes to see if others join, and then we will get started. So again, you're heading to kahoot.it and putting in this pin here. Okay, we'll give it 30 more seconds and then we will start. All right, let's get started. All right, question 1. Which of the following is not a consequence associated with climate change? Yeah, decrease in global migration, meaning less people are moving from one area of the world to another, right? So that's definitely not going to be because of climate change. All right. Next question. Which gas is the most common greenhouse gas? Carbon dioxide, certainly. All right. Question 3. How can you save water at home? Which of these allows you to save water at home? Yeah, fixing leaks, right? That way there's no wasted water. You're fixing the problem as soon as it starts. All right, question 4. How does geothermal energy produce electricity? Yeah, so geothermal energy produces electricity from heat within the earth. That is right. Okay, question 5. What is climate change primarily caused by? Yeah, increased greenhouse gases. Exactly. All right, question 6. What powers a hydroelectric dam? What do we think here? Yeah, awesome, right? The movement of water through turbines in a river or reservoir. Fantastic, right? Ocean waves wouldn't be the most efficient way to power a hydroelectric dam, right? Because ocean waves are inconsistent, right? So they don't flow consistently and they wouldn't be able to turn the turbine consistently, right? So that's why rivers or reservoirs are the best way to handle dams. Right, question 7. What is a carbon footprint? Yeah, right. Carbon footprint is basically carbon dioxide emissions created by the activities of a living being, right? So human, even in some cases animals, right? Living organisms, but we're at the forefront of creating a carbon footprint and we're responsible for making sure our carbon footprint isn't too big. Okay. What is one challenge with wind and solar energy? Yeah, they depend on weather conditions, certainly. Okay, question 9. What does net zero mean in terms of energy and climate? Yeah, it means balancing the amount of greenhouse gases emitted with the amount removed, right? So keeping it balanced, creating a net zero. All right, question 10. What is a renewable energy source? Yeah, so a renewable energy source is a source that is naturally replenished over a short period of time, right? So it can renew itself and it can be reused. Okay, question 11. Which of the following is a renewable energy source? Yeah, there you go, right? There's a few options there. Hydroelectric, biomass, or even geothermal. These are all renewable energy sources. All right, lovely. Question 12. What is the purpose of an electric vehicle? Yeah, so they reduce direct emissions and can be powered by clean energy, right? That's why they're so useful. All right, question 13. What does sustainable innovation mean? There we go. So it means creating new ideas that improve lives while protecting future resources, right? Building faster machines without using more energy. That's definitely innovative, right? But is it sustainable? Because, what sort of processes are needed to create those machines, right? So I'd say the creating new ideas and that improve lives while protecting future resources is the most ideal answer there. All right, question 14. Which of these is a clean energy source? Yeah, solar power, definitely, right? Natural gas can stump you sometimes because it has the word natural in it, but solar power is actually the clean energy source out of these four options. All right. Which is energy, or why is energy efficiency important in fighting climate change? There you go. It reduces energy waste and lowers emissions from energy production. Fantastic. Okay, question 16. What is the main reason fossil fuels are considered non-renewable? Yeah, they take millions of years to form, right? So it's not very fast, it's not efficient, right? They can't be reused. So they're definitely in the non-renewable category. All right, question 17. What is the greenhouse effect? Yeah, so the greenhouse effect is when gases in our atmosphere trap heat and block it from escaping. Exactly. All right, question 18. Which animal is the most threatened by melting Arctic ice due to rising global temperatures? Yeah, polar bears, definitely, right? They are affected certainly by melting Arctic ice as they live in the cold areas, and ice makes up most of their home. Alrighty. True or false? Climate and weather are the same thing. False. Yeah, it is indeed false. Weather is short term, right? Oh, it's raining outside. Oh, it's sunny outside. Oh, it's cloudy outside, right? But climate is the long term. So, over the years, the summers in Canada have become a lot hotter, right? Or even the winters in Canada have become a lot hotter, right? That's the overall climate, right? So climate is the long term, weather is the short term. It's day by day. All right, final question. Which of these is a small change you can make to reduce your carbon footprint? Yeah, using reusable bags is indeed the answer, right? Using disposable products, disposable means you can dispose of them. You can throw them out right after, right? But you're creating more trash that way. But reusable bags, you can reuse them, you can wash them if they get dirty, right? So they're definitely a more efficient way for reducing your carbon footprint. All right, with that, here is our podium. So in third place, we have Blue Sea Lion. In second place, we have Agile Crane. And in third place, we have Bright Falcon. Okay, fantastic job. Fantastic job. So I'm going to take us back to the PowerPoint very briefly. Okay, so very shortly, we are going to get into the closing ceremony, which will happen in this live stream. So stay in this live stream as this is where the closing ceremonies will take place. But otherwise, thank you so much for participating in the Kahoot. Hopefully you learned something new and great job today. All right, that is it for me.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the closing ceremonies. Oh my gosh, I hope you have enjoyed the last few hours here with us at the Future City Experience Showcase. And I really hope that you are even more excited and more curious to explore the really fun and exciting world of engineering. I had an amazing time. I got to pop in and out of some of the rooms and see some presentations, and gee, I mean, you should all just be so, so proud of the hard work that you've accomplished. As we are wrapping up today, I do have some really special thank yous that I wanted to pass along. First, I do want to thank all of our partner organizations that have been just so dedicated to making this the best possible experience for all of you here today. And thanks again to our special guest, Erin Hanna, for sharing her story and hopefully getting some of you thinking about what might be possible for all of you. And a big, big shout out to all of the engineer mentors who have been there alongside you, encouraging you along the way, and helping you understand maybe a little bit more about what does it really mean to be an engineer. And of course, a super special thank you to our amazing friends at Ontario Tech. What an awesome outreach team. They were so super in helping us bring this all together. We really appreciate everything that you've done to make things run so smoothly. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I want all of the students watching right now to put your hands together and please give a big round of applause to your teachers. They are really going above and beyond to create these really awesome experiences for you in the classrooms. And of course, special thank you to each and every one of you, every student that has been working so hard and has been so dedicated to this really complex design challenge. As engineers, we're solving complex problems all the time. We want to help people, we want to protect people, we want to keep them healthy and safe and happy. And so we need people like you so that engineers can continue to serve and protect all of our Canadian citizens across the country. Now, before I go on to the next slide, this is the time maybe you've all been waiting for. I'm really excited to share the results of the peer voting awards for your cities. And before I share and announce the award winners, I just wanted to take a second to let you all know that these awards were selected by all of you. This wasn't, us engineers that were looking at your cities and analyzing every detail. No, this was your peers, your friends, other students across the country that took the time to look through your pictures and the descriptions of your city and really, try to imagine themselves living in these cities and using the different technologies and innovations that you came up with. So I wanted you to really, just recognize that that's a cool thing when your peers are seeing the hard work that you've put into all of this. And when we tallied up the votes, we had more than 1,200 students voting. So that is really great to see so much participation from across Canada. So without further ado, I'm going to ask my friend Kimberly to move on to the next slide to announce the award winners for the 2025 Future City Showcase. Everybody do a drum roll. Yay! Big, big congratulations to Noctera for their innovative design, to Crescent County for some super inspiring tech, and to Cons for the city that everybody, 1,200 of you, or the majority, I guess, would want to live in. So big round of applause for our peer award winners. Congratulations. Now, I can get Kimberly to go on to the next slide, please. We'll wrap things up here today. So, after what I've seen today, I really hope all of you are up for the challenge to join us again next year. And we have some really exciting news to share that in 2026, we are unlocking not one, but 2 new themes that you'll be able to choose for your designs. One is farm to table, and the other one is above the current. Ooh, floating cities. That could be really fun. Oh, they both are going to be amazing. So stay tuned for more information on those new themes for 2026. And we really hope to see you back again next year. Teachers on the call, please be on the lookout for more information coming from us. We will start sending things out in the fall. That's when registration will get started and all that information will be coming to you. So stay tuned. And then I think lastly, let's see, is the next slide my last slide? Oh, one quick thing while I have your attention. Wanted to also let you know that if you loved what you went through the last few months, having an engineer be able to come and visit with your students or your class and share their stories and help out in really fun and innovative ways, we have another program that you can also get involved in, and applications and registration really is open for that right now. Registration actually closes May 31st. It's called the Engineer in Residence program. You can find out more information about the EIR program at EIR.ca. We kept it really simple. So please hope you will check out EIR.ca. Let us know if you do have any questions about it, but hopefully we will see some of you coming back for that. With that, thank you again so much, everybody. I really appreciate your dedication and your hard work and perseverance, as our friend Erin shared. Thanks so much, and we really hope to see you back again next year. All right, bye. Have an amazing rest of your day, everyone.